of the biggest mistakes you've seen first-time home buyers make?
One of the biggest mistakes I see is them watching too much HGTV or Millionaire Real Estate Agent or whatever, thinking that there's gonna be this huge negotiation or that the seller has to do this for me. You know, you gotta be very careful of the contract that's written to make sure that yes, you are gonna be able to get repairs or whatever. You know, the market determines the price, not the seller and not the buyer. The value is determined by the market and the demand for that particular property. If the buyer doesn't see the value in it, then they're gonna obviously offer lower for the house. And I've seen a lot of buyers that think they can come in and negotiate initially right off the bat. Well, if it's priced right, there's probably not much room for negotiation, right? I mean, the idea for a listing agent is to price a home to create the biggest amount of demand for the property. So sometimes that may be pricing it on the lower end of the scale to ramp up that demand. And you know, I've seen a couple first-time home buyers where we've explained to them that the home has 3 other offers. And they said, okay, great. I want to offer $5,000 below list price.
What?
What? What? How do you think you can compete with 3 other offers if you're not even giving what the house is listed for? This is a time to step up and go a little bit above the list price. The other thing to think about too with first-time home buyers, a lot of them are asking for closing costs because, you know, they may have a down payment. So they've been saving up for that down payment and now you have to put, you know, basically 3% of the list price is what the buyer's closing costs are typically gonna run. And they think they're gonna be able to negotiate like 5 or 10 grand off the price and then also ask the seller to pay 3% of their closing costs. It usually doesn't work that way. It's usually, maybe if you're lucky, you get one or the other, but not both. And I see too many offers written for first-time home buyers that they want to negotiate, right? They've watched too much TV. They want to see, like, they just, oh, we want to negotiate. No, you want to get the house, right? So you really want to take as many of the negotiation things out of the picture, because the way the Florida contract's written is there's multiple different avenues and different things you can negotiate on. You can negotiate on price, you negotiate on the closing date, you negotiate on the repairs, you negotiate on the concessions the seller may be willing to pay the buyer, like those closing costs. So you've got, you know, 4 things just right off the top of my head that you're gonna be negotiating about, right? So typically what I try to make sure our clients and our agents know is, let's take as many of those off the table as possible, right? If the buyer's asking for closing costs, well, if the home priced right, yes it is. Okay, great. Let's give the seller what they're asking for in the price. And then we'll ask for the closing costs. The closing date, a great agent will always ask the listing agent, when does your seller want to close, right? Most buyers are usually pretty flexible and, you know, they may have a lease expiring or something like that, but don't you think your offer is going to be better if you're closing on the day the seller wants to, if your buyer doesn't really have a set date? So I see a lot of agents miss the mark on that. Always check with that listing agent. The next thing you want to make sure is, if you're asking for repairs, make sure it's a manageable number. You know, it's realistic. It's realistic with what could really be wrong with the house. You've got a house that's only 2 years old and you want to ask for $10,000 in repairs? Like, is there really going to be 10,000? No, probably very minimal, maybe 500 bucks, right? So why not cut that number of repairs, the amount of repairs you're asking for, cut it down to a very small number. So it's easy for the seller to say yes, not no. And then as far as the pricing goes, minimal repairs, close to list price if it's priced right, ask for your concessions, and close when the seller wants to. Now they're gonna look at that offer and they're gonna go, okay, you've asking for some closing costs. You're a first-time young military couple. I get it. like, I'll help you out. You gave me the price I wanted for the house, right? Now you get into multiple offers for the same scenario. You may have to offer the seller $5,000 over list price. If you're gonna ask for any concessions, I would highly suggest not asking for any if you're competing. That's gonna get you the best chance of getting an offer accepted. And you know, the other thing with first-time home buyers, I see a lot of them, they don't stop to listen to their agent. Your agent has more experience than you do because you have none. Even if your agent hasn't sold a house yet, they still have more experience than you do because they've been through some sort of training typically, or they understand, they have a team leader or a broker that's kind of walked them through what it's gonna look like. But most first-time home buyers don't need to be paired up with a first-time agent, right? Then it's the blind leading the blind. So I would suggest for a first-time home buyer, making sure you get with an agent that's sold at least 3 or 4 houses, right? You know, make sure you've got somebody that's gonna be able to navigate and help walk you through the process. And if you're a first-time home buyer and you don't have an agent who sat down and had a consultation with you to find out exactly what your wants and needs are, you're not getting great service. They need to fully understand what you're looking for. The agent's job is to solve your problem. Your problem is you need a place to live, right? So don't you think giving the agent that's working with you all of the information, all of your financial, like the truth about your financials, so we can make sure you're gonna be able to get pre-qualified to be able to buy a home? That's another issue. Pre-qualification for first-time home buyers. A lot of them are very nervous. They're nervous to go through the process of talking to a lender, having their credit pulled, right? And then a lot of times they'll get suckered in on the internet to some internet lending service that I've never heard of. And you know, oh, I already got pre-qualified by Cloud Mortgage. Right? The mortgage company that's in the cloud. And no one's heard of them. They've got no reviews online. Can't find shit about them. But you got your pre-approval. Like, that isn't gonna hold up. So when an agent recommends one of their preferred lenders or someone that they've worked with previously or their clients have worked with previously, trust your agent, right? Even if you've already got pre-qualified with Cloud Mortgage, you need to talk to who they work with on a regular basis. Don't you think it'd be easier for the process if your agent already has a working relationship with this guy to make sure that, like, hey, they know that they're going to close on time? When you're picking Cloud Mortgage, you're got your head in the clouds, quite honestly, because like, you don't know them. You're probably just a file number. You may be file number 1. They've never closed one before. You're the first one of Cloud Mortgage. And the trusted lender is gonna be somebody that the agent can turn to, call at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, if you run into bumps in the road. And guess what? You will. If your agent isn't telling you there's going to be bumps in the road in the home buying process, they're lying to you. There always is. And it's our job to navigate you through those. I've told my clients in the past, look, you're not allowed to worry until I tell you you can. It's my job to worry for you. And we'll hit bumps in the road and they'll call me up. Mark, is it okay if I worry now? Nope. Hang up on them. No, our job's to take all the worry and the stress off the client, right? And, you know, sticking with a lender that basically it's like, look, it's like working with an agent. You want to work with an agent you know, like, and trust. Trust your agent that they're pointing you in the right direction. Because I can tell you, it happens 99% of the time that a local lender or a lender that the agent has a relationship with is going to be able to beat the interest rate of Cloud Mortgage.